Before there were kingdoms, there was balance, and before balance had a name, it had a choice. The universe did not begin with noise. It began with listening, with light learning where to rest, and shadow learning where to soften. From that first quiet, two were formed, one of growth and living green, one of depth and starlit night. They were not enemies, they were brothers, different but shared by the same beginning. Where one touched the world, forests rose and rivers learned their paths. Where the other touched the sky, night learned how to hold the stars. Together, they kept the first balance. Then came light with a will to heal. Her name was Mezmoree. She did not arrive to rule what was growing. She arrived to understand it. Where she walked, magic did not replace nature. It learned to live with it. And so, with wisdom and wonder, a world was shaped. Not to conquer, not to control, but to care. This world would be called MelaMagiq. Here, beings were not born the way stars are born. They were formed by purpose, by need. They were formed from light, memory, and meaning. And when their work in one shape is done, they return to light again. By day, they live in form. By night, they become orbs of light. Resting among the stars while Luna keeps watch. Fair folk, small folk, watchers, wanderers, sorcerers, all part of the same living story. And for a time, the balance held. The one of shadow did not leave in anger. He left in silence. And in that silence, something new took shape. A realm where weight lingered longer, where doubts echoed, where endings spoke louder than beginnings. He called it Umbryss. He did not wish to burn the world he left behind. He wished to prove it could not stand without him. So he studied the quiet places and hearts, the moments between courage and fear, the space where a thought can bend before it breaks. And he learned this truth. You do not have to shatter a world to change it. You only have to tilt it. In MelaMagiq, the balance answered with new light. Two were formed, not as rulers, but as reminders. Mel'Ani, who would learn to heal by listening, and Maliq, who would learn to lead by lifting others. They did not grow as humans do. Time moves differently when purpose is your heartbeat. They learned the land. They learned its people. They learned that joy is not the opposite of struggle. It is how you survive it. And while stars turned and seasons changed, they prepared without yet knowing for what. Some stories do not begin with a trumpet. They begin with a window. 3 small watchers learned to fly between worlds. Not to judge, not to command, but to notice. They watched laughter. They watched doubt. They watched the quiet moments where a small kindness could change a long day. Mel'Ani took her care where it was needed. Maliq kept joy moving through the land. And the Threehouse waited, not for trouble, but for meaning. Because the greatest stories are not about winning. They are about continuing. When the pull from Umbryss began to be felt, MelaMagiq did not build a weapon. It built a way. A book, so the world could remember itself. A treehouse, so paths could meet where roots were strongest. A bridge, not to conquer shadow, but to teach light how to last. Not every problem needs a battle. Some need understanding, some need patience, some need someone to stay long enough to listen. And so, helpers were formed, teachers were gathered, and the work became shared. The Threehouse did not feel like a building so much as a living thing. Its walls held warmth the way sunlight holds morning, and its air carried the quiet hum of roots and magic moving beneath the floor. Light filtered in through high windows, catching on leaves, glass, and softly glowing symbols etched into the wood. It was the kind of place that made even hurried thoughts slow down. Maple was the first to notice the quiet settle. She stood near a long wooden table, setting out bowls and cups with practiced hands, her movements steady and sure. There was something grounding about her presence, like the certainty of a hearth in winter or a familiar voice calling you home. The scent of warm food drifted through the room, and for a moment it felt impossible that anything unkind could exist beyond these walls. Across the room, Ms. Willow moved among a cluster of glowing plants that grew in gentle spirals along the windows and beams. She touched each leaf as if listening to it, coaxing soft light from their veins, guiding their growth with patient care. Wherever she stepped, the air seemed to breathe a little easier. And then there was Mr. Spark. He hovered near a table crowded with curious devices, small, bright, gently humming things that clicked and chimed when he adjusted them. He muttered to himself, wings flickering, eyes alight with ideas that were always one step ahead of his hands. Every so often, something would glow a little brighter or spin a little smoother, and he would grin as if the world had just agreed with him. Together, they did not look like gods or rulers. They looked like caretakers. And the Threehouse, wrapped in their quiet work, felt ready. 3 beautiful beings of light, shaped first as birds, and then, when the moment called for it, as fairy guardians. They were meant to watch over both kingdoms and to speak when something, somewhere, needed attention. See, some guardians are sent to watch, some sent to teach. Others are made to walk beside. When the world began to need more than hope, 3 new lights were shaped. Not to rule, not to command, but to learn. And to help others learn too. Min was given a mind that loves patterns and numbers, always searching for how things fit together. Zuri was given a voice that loves words and stories, always finding ways to speak, listen, and understand. And Sophia was given eyes that love questions and discovery, always wondering how the world truly works. Together, they were not just teachers, they were guides. They would open doors that seemed locked. They would untangle problems that felt too big. They would help turn confusion into understanding. They were called the Wonder 3. Because wonder is where learning begins. And so the adventures did not begin with a war. They began with a promise to notice, to teach, to heal, and to keep the light from forgetting how to last. The page is turning now. Are you listening?